The first pick belongs to the Minnesota Timberwolves.
Ever since I was little, that was one of my goals, to go to the NBA, be number one pick.
Made it out of the trenches, salute when you see me. Yeah, salute when you see me. They gotta put my face on the box of Wheaties. I'm praying for whoever think they competing. Salute when you see me.
I smile every time I think about it. Just everything I've been working for.
So high that you might as well leave it. I'm going undefeated. I broken the system and she had to breach it. That's mission impossible, mission completed. Salute when you see me.
Just getting drafted, it's like you've worked so hard for this one dream that you're trying to chase, and then you finally get to it.
With the first pick, the Minnesota Timberwolves select.
What up, what up, what up, what up?
It's getting serious on this track, fam.
Welcome to the Ball Dnt Lie podcast. This is your boy Dexter, your host, the one and only. Welcome back to the show. And today we're going to be getting into the NBA mock draft to see what players are actually going to take their talents to the next level in the NBA. So within less than 24 hours, we're going to see who's the number one pick, the second pick, the third pick, because that's pretty much all we care about right now, right? LaMelo, Anthony Edwards, James Wisman. There's a couple of the guys that might be okay, but then the talent falls off. It's not as dramatic. Obviously, the NBA draft is going to be a little bit different this year, so we're going to be talking about the NBA draft in this episode, like I promised y'all. And if you're new to this channel, go ahead and subscribe. Go ahead and hit the like button. It helps out a lot. It really does, and I keep saying that because it really does help out a lot. And if you're on the audio route, you can stream us on all platforms, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, etc. Appreciate the love. Like I said, today we're going to be talking about the NBA draft. It's going to be crazy because this is going to be different. This is going to be different compared to other years. Obviously, with the NBA draft, you go through the combine, right? You go through all this workouts with teams, and then they get to figure out what they're going to do. But for the first time ever, obviously because of COVID, situation is going to be a little bit different. Players are doing their interviews virtually through Zoom. Players are working out with only selected teams, so the workouts are not as enough. Like, for example, if you are the Minnesota Timberwolves, you can't work out every single player because of COVID restrictions. So it's going to be different for these kids when they, because obviously they didn't play a whole full season last year, through the college sports. And the ones that are coming overseas were limited as well. So, and then the draft tomorrow is going to be virtually as well. So these kids will not be able to walk, or hang on there's green screen in the back, walk out, shake the commissioner's hand. And the number one pick goes to, so no commission out there. So let's just go ahead and dive into it. Because all the speculation about the top three players and where they may go, it all depends on the Minnesota Timberwolves. Are they going to trade the number one pick? Because they're looking to get a vet. They think that they can win now, basically, or at least compete. So obviously the GM has a lot on his plate. I'm pretty sure he had offers. Nothing that was probably entertaining. So 8:05 Eastern Standard Time, we're going to see what decision he makes. Either he drafts a player, then ships him off, or he's just gonna keep that player. So either he trades it or not. And this is gonna be my personal take on the NBA draft. Obviously, the numbers might change from 1 to 7, 1 to 8, maybe 1 to 10 probably. But these are the top players we're gonna be talking about, 1 through 10, and I'll break down pretty much every single player, not as critique as far as other people out there who actually watch the game, who are scouting out there and they actually grades on players. I'll break down the most common things about it. So let's go with the Minnesota Timberwolves, the number one pick. They have a choice to pick either through LaMelo, Anthony Edwards, or James Wisman. LaMelo, to me, if the Minnesota does pick him, because he is by far probably the best high ceiling talent, meaning like star name, star buzz, can contribute probably right now because he played with grown men since like he was 16, 17 years old. So he has the experience playing overseas in professional leagues, played in Europe, played in Australia. And he played okay. I wasn't saying it was that great. But I don't think personally he's the best fit as a prospect or as a pick, period, for Minnesota, because they have D'Angelo Russell, who needs the ball in his hands. Same way LaMelo needs the ball in his hands. If you're going to draft a LaMelo type, you pretty much have to turn the keys to him and give him the ball and let him run your offense. And yeah, he'd be a nice fit with Cat. You have D'Lo there. So I don't know how you can work two combo guards, on the court with one ball. We've seen it with James Harden and Russ. We've seen the usage rate that Harden had was number 1 in the league the last couple of years and fell to 3rd this past season because of Russ. And it impacted his game slightly. I think it impacted the way they played in the playoffs slightly. So this will definitely impact D'Lo. Even though D'Lo played in the Nets, played well with Spencer Dinwiddie, played well with other guards. So I don't think the issue is going to be D'Lo. The issue is going to be with LaMelo. I think it'll be a hard process for him. So I don't see him going there, especially if you're basing this on analytics or if you're basing this on stats. You're looking at things that I'm looking at. He shot I'll say about 39% from the field in Australia, 24% from the three-point line. He is what we see as the highlights from LaMelo. You'd be like, oh my God, that dude can hoop. Yeah, he can hoop. Don't get me wrong. But he didn't shot that great last year. He did not. I mean, I can pull up numbers right now. I can go by game basis. Or if you want to just carve it out, sum it up in the average, 39% from the field, 24% from a three-point line that is shorter than the NBA. So imagine shooting the NBA length. Duke can go off for 30 and 40 easily, but it's going to be a sloppy game for him. So Minnesota has to make a decision. You go with LaMelo, who's probably the best talent that can draw tickets, views, jersey sales, stuff like that. You go down with the LaMelo situation. But if you want to get the best prospects, and I'm going to break it down, these 3, because they can go in any order. Then from there on, I'll probably just tell you what teams might get what. James Wisman can also go as a number 1 pick. And it's up to what they feel like can happen. The GM came out and said, they obviously seen the Lakers win with 2 bigs, with AD and Dwight Howard, even though Dwight Howard didn't really play down the stretch, but was effective throughout the whole entire year, going back and forth between him and McGee. Hardly we ever seen AD play at the 5. Maybe in spurts, but never starting off that way. So James Wisman, a center from Memphis. To me, this is like you building a center in the lab. This is exactly how he will look if you build him from the lab. 7'1", 7'5" wingspan, 9'6" standing reach. That is crazy. He can run the floor like a wing, like a gazelle. For a big man, he can run. Great rebounder, great lob finisher. To me, he reminds me of a DeAndre Jordan. Obviously, he's a little bit better than DeAndre Jordan as far as shooting wise. He has a little Chris Bosh in him, left-handed. Solid rim protector, so he can protect the paint. So to me, if you put him on the Warriors, for example, because I personally believe the Warriors, if they have the number two pick, regardless of what Minnesota does, if they don't get Wiseman, you should get James Wisman. Because if you want to fill in your holes right now for Golden State, he is the missing piece. If you go with LaMelo, you got Steph. You go with Anthony Edwards, you got Klay Thompson. You got Wiggins at the 3. I don't know where you can get these guys. Like, you need player. If you got a high pick right now, you need them to win right now. As far as the Warriors, win mode now. They're obviously in contentions because of who they are. Obviously, if this was a different scenario, they're gonna go with the best talent, LaMelo or Anthony Edwards, because obviously you need guards in the leagues to win. Last time, I haven't even heard a team winning an NBA title without a dominant guard. Most of them are all wingers or guards of some sort. So in order to win a title, yeah, you need a big. Don't get me wrong, you might need somebody in the paint, but That's not necessarily true in the last decade. If you look at it, the last big man that pretty much just did what he wanted, to me, was Dirk. Even though Dirk had a good team around him. If you look at the previous teams, Tim Duncan obviously had a team around him, but it wasn't the same Tim Duncan. So if they go down this route, then the Warriors should get James Wisman. To me, he's the best big man in the draft. Obviously, that's why he's prompted to be the number 1 or number 2 pick. So we'll see what happens. Dude was good out of Memphis. Obviously, we didn't see a lot of games from him. We can only judge off of the few games he played before he got suspended from the NCAA for taking some money from, Penny Hardaway, which is the coach of Memphis, which also coached him in high school for 4 years. Won 4 state titles. So I hope that's the way they go. But based off what I'm seeing right now, it's somewhere around there. The first 3 picks is going to be dicey because Minnesota controls the fate of the rest of the other teams. Obviously, the third team is going to take whoever's left. So we're going to see what Charlotte does. I know Charlotte would love to have LaMelo to, be on the same court with, with some other the young players they have. I don't know what they can do with Terry Rozier. But they got Graham over there. He played good last year. So let's go on to Anthony Edwards. This guy, to me, reminds me low-key a poor man James Harden. Dude's just built like that. Like, he can score in all fashions. Not a great shooter, but he's a solid to good scorer. He reminds me of a D Wade coming out of Marquette. D Wade couldn't really shoot. D Wade could not really shoot threes at all. Like, he was iffy. Came in the league, just scoring everywhere within 15 feet. Jump shot, layup, dunking on people. So Anthony Edwards reminds me of that. He has, arguably, depending on what other people say on other outlets, other media outlets, he's probably the best player. Best player. You talking about ready to play now is probably LaMelo. Best talent as far as body-wise, as far as guard-wise, it's probably going to be Anthony Edwards. Talented wing. Dude is 6'5", weighs about 230 pounds, 6'10" wingspan. Like I said, he can score anywhere on the court. Very explosive slasher. That's his game. That's why when they asked him, who's your game complements who? Who does it remind you of? He said Dwayne Wade, because that's how his game was in Georgia. Even though his team was not that good in Georgia, even though his team didn't play well as in Georgia. Same thing with Ben Simmons. When Ben Simmons came out of LSU, that team was not that great. That team was trash. Though Ben Simmons was a good player, and look what he became to be in the NBA. So when people go on to like, well, he played on a bad team, so that's why he's getting the shots. No, incorrect, because he balled against competition. It's just that his team didn't perform. But he's definitely going to be in the top 3 pick. I mean, the dude can hit you with a step back, crossover, power ball, bully ball. Like, he has a complete NBA body, a complete NBA game. And his body and his skill set can play in this NBA right now, especially with the guards. Like I said, he's the best athlete, probably. Best athlete in the draft, for sure. Obviously, you got bigs like James Wisman and some other players, but the dude at 6'5" can windmill it. He's a human highlight. He can dunk on you. So someone will take him. So it's going to be interesting to see who does that in the first 3 picks. Obviously, there's some things he has to work on. Sometimes he takes ill-advised shots. Sometimes he takes wild shots. But those are things that he can actually work on in the NBA. He needs to work on his three-point shot as well. Not really good in defense, but obviously those things you can develop as you go in the league. It's harder to develop to be a scorer than playing defense. So defense you can actually work on for sure. So this is going to be the 4th pick now. So we're down to the 4th pick, or the 4th player in the mock draft. Is Dan Avadia? I'm sorry, if I can't pronounce your name, I apologize. I'm not really good with foreign names like that. But the dude is from Israel, or he played in Israel. 6'10", combo forward. Half Serbian, half Israeli. This guy can pretty much beat you on both sides of the court. He's pretty good. He's okay on defense based on European competition from what I saw on the tapes. But as far as on the offensive side, he can stretch a court. Like I said, he's a stretch 4, 6'10", solid. He's a great floor spacer. And just from his experience, he played 100 games. 100 games in Israel. I think was the youngest MVP to ever win in the Israel League. And this is the same league that Amari Stoudemire played the last few years, for the ones that don't know. So the league does have some competition over there. It's not the best league in Europe, but it's definitely one of the most exciting ones because they have young players that do go there. And he averaged 12 points, 6 boards, 2 assists. Like I said, he can play both sides of the court. The Bulls are going to be the 4th pick. Obviously, the Bulls are not going to get the top 3 players. But to me, he's probably the best option after that, especially coming from Europe. All the hype about Luka, teams are trying to take European players now. Like, oh my God, let me bank on Luka. Luka was MVP last year. I mean, the year he was in Madrid, Real Madrid, he was MVP. And the Bulls, I don't know where you can go, but definitely they don't need a guard. You drafted Dunn a couple years ago. You drafted Kobe White last year, who came out of North Carolina. You have Zach LaVine. Like, you have so many guards and so many wingers. You would have to fill in the gaps in your bigs. And this guy would be a type of player that can play now. He can start and plug into that team right now. So I don't know where they're going to go down the road with some of the guys they have on their roster. But to me, this is probably the best player they can get out of the draft that can play right now. And the Cavs got the 5th pick. Cleveland has the 5th pick. We know people are going to kill them about what they did a couple years ago, or not a couple years ago, 5, 6 years ago, whatever it may be, 7 years ago, with Anthony Bennett, who had the number 1 pick, or the Cavs had the number 1 pick and picked him. I don't think they're going to make this mistake. The 5th pick, if it's available, Obi Toppin. This guy can play. He can play. If y'all only seen him in college, he can play. Look it up. Obi Toppin. To me, I think he was the best player in college. My opinion. He had the best games I have seen. And everybody was talking about this guy. Everybody was raving. That's why I was so mad that COVID happened. Because March Madness, I would have saw this guy just. He'd probably be the number 1 pick if he played in the March Madness tournament. He would have been the number 1 pick. Best player in college, to me. He's a plug-in player right now that could be a 4. So Cleveland, if you look at your roster, you have Darius Garland. You have Colin Sexton. You have Kevin Porter Jr., 3 young core players for your future. Obviously, your bigs you have to worry about. Kevin Love, you don't know what you're going to do with that player. You might trade him or not. Tristan Thompson, you're not sure you're going to keep him or not. Andre Drummond just opted into his final year of his contract, so he's going to make about $30+ million. And you add in him. You add in Obi Toppin. Yeah, I would. I would draft him with the 5th pick for sure. He's a lob threat. If you go into the basket, alley-oop that boy can dunk. Offensively, he's great. Defensively, he's suspect. But he can work on that, like I said. For a guy that's that big, he runs the floor really good. He's probably the most complete offensive player in the draft, based off of what I've seen. And he can definitely shoot threes. I mean, I'm not saying he's a great three-point shooter, but he can definitely spot up for threes and hit them. So you have a stretch 4 for sure. Like I said, the only weakness he has is defense. Offensively, I think he's the best player in the league, best player in the draft offensively compared to anybody else. Because the guy can do it pretty much any way how. Dude can score inside, mid-range, outside. He can dribble. He can run the ball on a fast break by himself, coast to coast. And he can do all that. So those are going to be the 5 picks. LaMelo, as far as, I don't know the order of the top 3. So Don't quote me on this, but LaMelo. Then you have James Wisman. Then you have Anthony Edwards. Then you have the dude from from Israel, Danny. Then you have Obi Toppin. And like I said, Obi Toppin is going to be great. Then the draft after that becomes pretty much chaos at that point. So I'm going to run it quick from 6 to 10. The talent doesn't drop off dramatically. It's just that you're not sure if these guys are ready yet. So with the 6th pick, I think they should go with Isaac Okoro. He's from Auburn, 6'6" guard, can play defense. The Hawks definitely do need a winger that can play defense. So just imagine, Atlanta Hawks, they have a lot of cap space. They can do whatever they want. They can trade for some players like Gordon Hayward from the Celtics, right? And get 3 first-round picks just to give up the 6th pick. Or they can just rebuild the draft again. They got Cam Reddish. They got Hunter. Obviously, you have Trae Young. You just traded for Clint Capella. You got Collins. So you got a young, good team. The only problem, they have no one that can stop a guard like a James Harden or like a DeRozan or like a Bradley Beal or like a Jimmy Butler or like a Jason Tatum. So this will be a perfect match for them. He can play defense. Average 13 points, 4 rebounds out of Auburn. So we'll see what they do with the 6th pick as far as the Hawks. 7th pick will be the Pistons. I don't know where they want to go. I know they're probably going to lose Woods in free agency. But if they do keep him, then they might go with a guard because they just shipped off Brown to the Nets. But they're in scramble mode. I'm not sure what they can do because Blake Griffin, we don't know how healthy he can be. So if they happen to go with the big, most likely it'll probably be Patrick Williams from Florida State. I mean, this guy was not even a top 10 mock draft for months. To me, this is the biggest riser in the draft. He just proved people wrong through all the film study, because obviously COVID is different. Like, it's different because of COVID, so there's no combine. So all they're doing is private workouts. Patrick Williams from Florida State, 6'8", 225 pounds, NBA body, solid, chisel, physical banger inside, 7'1" wingspan. Obviously, he's not going to give you 50 points a game, 25 points a game. He's more like around 8 to 10, 12 points a game as far as a rookie if he starts and he gets his minutes. Last year, he averaged 10 points and 4 rebounds. Played only like maybe 25, 30 games. So we had a small snippet of what he could do. But for sure, he definitely moved up into the top 10. There's no argument about that. It's all about personnel, too. What teams will they want? So the Pistons, if they want to get a big because of Blake Griffin and because of Woods, then you go with that. If you don't need that and you need a guard, then there's guys like Tyrese Halliburton, which I'll get into in the next pick. If they want to get that, you'll be available. Or RJ Barrett, Cole Anthony, because they definitely do need a point guard there. I'm not sure how things are going to sit with Derrick Rose. We don't know the situation with free agency, but you obviously need a point guard. You need a young point guard. Let's go on to this. Let's go on to the 8th pick. The New York Knicks is on the clock. Last great pick they had was Kristaps Porzingis, and they booed him for that. And after that, they had a tough draft. And I probably mentioned RJ Barrett. I'm sorry about that. Not RJ Barrett. I was talking RJ Hampton, who played in Australia, but I'll get into that in a second. RJ Barrett was drafted out of Duke. To me, I don't think he was ready to be the man. So what do you do with this pick? If LaMelo is available, they definitely get him, but he is not going to be at the 8th pick. So I know exactly what they're going to do. They're going to get a point guard because they had point guard issues. Dennis Smith Jr., they had Payton, they had other point guards. It didn't work out. You need a guy who can actually score from all angles of the court. Tyrese Halliburton, he's from Iowa State. can really shoot it, boy. That boy can shoot. I was watching him. He has a dog in him. He has a dog in him. That dude can score. Like lights out. To me, the way he plays, he can drop easy 30, 40 points. Easy. In college. Even though he averaged 15 points last year, the dude had that kind of game. He can go inside. Lengthy kind of point guard too. Wingspan was crazy. And if you want to look at complete point guards, I think he's the best complete point guard in the draft. Meaning he can get the team going. He can run the offense, and he can definitely score. LaMelo, I heard things about what Bogus said. He said that he's an elite passer. I don't know about that. He can diamond to you. Don't get me wrong. He can diamond to you. But the way Tyrese does it, Iowa State, to me, he looks more fluid. Like more traditional. And can score. He led the Big 12 in assists. Sorry, he was second place in the Big 12. So what he averaged last year was 15 points, 6 boards, 6.5 assists. That's on a college level. 6.5 is not bad. They play less minutes than the NBA. Your biggest passers in the league don't even average 6 assists. So imagine that. He could have been a top 5 pick if they really wanted to, but I'm going based on personnel, what they need. Bulls don't need a point guard, and Cavs don't need a point guard. That's why he dropped out of the top 5. He has, to me, watching this dude, Tyrese, he has 0 holes in his game. I watched this guy's clips, his highlights. I watched his games. He doesn't make no mistakes. He doesn't. Like, if I was New York, I get that. I'll get that. Like I said, I don't know what they're going to do, but to me, that's probably the best option. Let's go with the pick 9. So this guy's from UFC. Big dude. Okanagwu. I guess, like I said, I'm not really good with these names, but you get my drift. Guys from the UFC. Dude is a beast in the paint. You don't need the ball in his hands. Give him a lob. Dump the ball to him in the last second. Give him a 2-second, 3-second post-up move. Great shot block in the paint. Dude can protect that paint like crazy. Very talented kid. I don't think he's ready for the NBA, but he's definitely going to be a prospect that you can mold and groom on the way. And guess who has the 9th pick? The Wizards. Who needs a rim protector? Bryant is not your center that can protect your rim. He's not a roller. He's not a physical guy. He's more of a spread out the court, stretch 5 kind of guy. He doesn't really have a post-up game. He's not really a pick and roller. He's more like a pick and pop. So, yeah, the Wizards will need this for sure. And like I said, he doesn't need the ball to be effective. Defensively, dude is good. Very good. Like, I watched the dude, he was blocking shots. Every time I watched him, he was blocking something. He averaged 3 blocks a game in college. But to me, it seemed like he was blocking every possession. He's blocking you in the paint or he's disrupting your shot somehow. So he's somewhere in there. He reminds me, low-key, he reminds me of Bam Adebayo from the Heat. The same way Bam plays now, he reminds me of that. Imagine, Bam's not even that big either. Bam's like, 6'8"? This guy is 6'9", 6'10". Last year, he averaged, with the UFC, 16 points, 9 rebounds, 3 blocks a game. So he's definitely going to be a top 10 pick, for sure. Yeah, so with the 10th pick, the Phoenix Suns are on the clock. I personally believe they might go with a combo guard, a winger, like a Michael Bridges they have on their team right now. They just lost Kelly Oubre in the trade for Chris Paul, which Kelly went to OKC, and they got Chris Paul in Phoenix. If they want to replace a hole, because their bench is pretty thin when it comes to guards, outside of Devin Booker and Bridges, you don't really have another big winger or big guard they have. So I think they should go with, or they might go with, Devin Vassell from Florida State. He reminds me of Michael Bridges in a way. He can guard multiple positions. He can shoot it from 3. Shot over 40% last year. dude's pretty solid scorer. He was okay. When I say solid, I mean like he gave you 10 points, 12 points around there. But obviously, him coming to Phoenix, he's not going to be that type of guy. He's going to be more of guarding you, your best players, and then that could, shooting from threes. Sometimes he would be slashing to the basket. So if they do go with Devin Vassell, I wouldn't be surprised because, like I said, Phoenix Suns will need to fill that in. They don't need no bigs. They have Sorich. I'm not sure what they're going to do with Baines, Aaron Baines, if they're going to keep him or not. They have DeAndre Ayton. So, to me, they need another winger. This makes more sense. And obviously, the draft goes on to 2 rounds. I'm not going to go through all, 30, 60 players, whatever it may be. But other names to keep your eye on. Is R.J. Hampton, who played last year in Australia, overseas. Averaged 9 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists. He played okay. It was shocking to me a little bit because he had so much buzz and so much hype coming into the draft a year ago. And he was okay. He wasn't that great. He was okay. Him and Melo were not that great in Australia. Don't get me wrong. LaMelo averaged 12 points. Wasn't that great either. But it's just the fact that I think they have experience. They can come and help a team out. R.J. Hampton is very athletic. Very athletic. Very versatile. And over this summer, he was working out with Mike Miller on his shot. Mike Miller, who played for Memphis Grizzlies, who played, obviously, his last couple years was with Miami Heat with LeBron James. That Mike Miller, he's working out this past summer on his shot to improve his shooting. And he also put on some weight. If you don't know R.J. Hampton, dude's solid, like size-wise. Added about 15, 20 pounds. So we'll see where he goes. He can get into the top 10. All these players that I'm mentioning in these picks, it can shuffle. The first 3, we don't know. But the 4 and 5, I'm pretty sure that's what's going to happen. Those players are going to go there. Danny's probably going to go to the Bulls, and Opie Toppy might go to the Cavs. From 5 to 10, I'm going based on best personal needs and best available player on the chart. And to speak about R.J. Hampton, before I move on to Cole Anthony, he also worked out with the Wizards over the weekend, and they're impressed. So who knows? He might get drafted by the Wizards, but the Wizards do need a big man. And if they're gonna go down the point guard route, it means they're trying to get rid of somebody, either a Bradley Beal of some sort. So the next player to keep your eye on is Cole Anthony from North Carolina. He has so much buzz coming to his freshman year as a Tar Heel. So much buzz. It's crazy how he fell out the top 10. And if you don't know who Cole Anthony is, Greg Anthony, who played in the NBA, and you know who Greg Anthony is. That's his son. Greg Anthony's son is Cole Anthony. So it's going to be crazy to see a father and son situation in the NBA. It doesn't happen a lot, but I love to see stories like that. And Cole Anthony's a combo guard. Was highly respected talent coming out of high school. Highly respected. Was ranked number 2, I believe, at the top 100 out of high school. And he played okay for North Carolina. So I'm gonna see. I want to see where he goes because he's not gonna be the type of player that's gonna start right now for any team. He would have to develop more. And to me, I think he's skilled enough to be in this league for a while. Just gotta be patient. So we'll see what happens. So I'm gonna run the names back again. LaMelo could be the number 1 pick. James Wisman might go to the Warriors. Anthony Edwards. We'll see if he goes on the 3rd pick or not. If he does, he's going to the Hornets. And the Hornets are trying to get Russ too. So imagine if you pair this rookie with Russ together. Man, it's going to be a track meet out there in Charlotte. Then you have Danny from Israel. Then you have Opie Toppin. that might go to the Cavs. I'm just going down the list right now. 6th pick is going to be Isaac Okoro from Auburn. 7th pick is going to be Patrick Williams from Florida State. He's going to go to the Pistons. The Knicks, that's the interesting pick out of the top 10. I'm looking at that more than I'm looking at the top 3. Because top 3 can go any way, and it can work out with any way of those teams. But from that bottom tier, I'm excited about Tyrese Halliburton from Iowa. I really am. I want to see that. I want to see the Knicks pull that trigger and get this kid. Because I'll be definitely watching those games if that's the case. Wizards might get Onko Gu. I don't know how to pronounce his name. I'm so sorry, bro. I'm so sorry. Don't kill me. But from USC, Wizards might get him. The 9th pick, 10th pick, Devin Vassell, Florida State. Phoenix Suns has that pick. Winger. Like I say, his game is very comparable to what Mikal Bridges does. So we'll see what happens. And I'll have a video at the end of this. If you watching up to this point, I will have a video of a couple of prospects like James Wisman, Cole Anthony, a couple other guys that are doing their workouts. If you want to take a little snippet and look at that, I'll have it at the end of the video. But that's it for the mock draft. And I appreciate it for y'all watching. Draft's going to be at 8:05 Eastern today. Later today. So make sure y'all tap in. It's going to be all over ESPN. It's going to be, Zoom calls and everything we'll be doing at home because of COVID. So it's not going to be at any type of arena. So we'll see what happens. And I'm excited because now I can finally talk about free agency, which I'll be dropping the next episode. So y'all be safe out there. Stay tuned. We'll be coming soon. It's going to be a busy week. A lot of trades are going on. James Harden want to go to the Nets, right? Russ might get traded to the Charlotte Hornet. We don't know what's going to happen. Giannis is talking about, he might be happy with the Drew Holiday situation. Robin Covington gets traded. So we'll see what happens with free agency. That's the final stepping stones of this whole entire week. It's a chaotic week. And I promise to have that video uploaded as soon as I can. Once that happens on Friday. So until then, y'all stay safe. COVID ain't no joke. Like I said, be safe as possible. Stay tuned. All right, guys. One love.